Hi, I'm Mike Manuel with Moda Ministries. Last night God gave me a prophetic dream that I believe will be very encouraging and helpful to you. I know it was for me. In fact, God gave me two prophetic dreams this week, and I'm still kind of unpacking the first dream because there's so much to it. And I'll have that video out in just a few days, and you won't want to miss it, believe me. So hit that subscribe link right now and the bell right next to it, and then you'll be notified when that video is released. But let's get to last night's dream. As the dream started, I was going on some sort of a missions trip that involved hiking. It was in a mountainous region with some forest and some meadows, and I think there was maybe about 8 other guys. And I'm not sure really the purpose of the trip, but it seemed like it was some sort of missions trip. But there was hiking involved, which, for me is a dream because I'm not the hiking kind of guy. But anyway, I was part of that. And so actually, as we set out on the hike or on this trip, it was an unknown area. It wasn't an area that I was familiar with. That I wasn't familiar with the territory. And for the first day, we had to hike different routes, and then we would meet up at this certain location on the second day. And I didn't even think about it when we headed out, but that meant that night I'd be sleeping out in the open by myself. And so I hiked, and so in my dream, the next thing I know, it's like getting close to nighttime. And so I find kind of a meadowy, grassy area with some tall grass. And so I lay out my sleeping bag, and as I just begin to crawl in my sleeping bag, I'm like, I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. I'm unprotected. And some fear kind of started to set in. And then even fear of mice, because I don't do mice. I mean, I'll do spiders and even snakes if they're not poisonous, but I don't do mice. And I thought, what if a mouse gets into my sleeping bag? And it was kind of weirded me out a little bit. But anyway, just then I looked up, and about 20 yards away, I saw a lion. And it didn't scare me. It's almost like I knew right away that the lion was my friend and there for a reason. And the lion kind of walked around and bedded down, maybe 10, 15 yards from me. Never acted aggressive, didn't speak, it was a dream. But it was just there. And it looked, it's like a very big lion. And I remember thinking well, now I can sleep, because if there's a mouse, that lion's going to get it. I mean, lions eat stuff like that. And in fact, if there's any predator, the lion will take care of it, because there's nothing that's going to mess with a lion. And so I just remember just drifting off to sleep in this dream, 10 or 15 yards from this lion, as I kind of just laid in the grass, knowing that I would actually be safe. And in the dream, I woke up in the morning. The lion wasn't there when I woke up, but I woke up very refreshed and went on my hike and met up with the 8 other guys in this other place. And then I woke up from the dream. But when I woke up from the dream, just before 3 o'clock in the morning, I knew that dream was from God and that it had a message for you and me. I know a couple of things. As soon as I woke up from the dream, and I woke up about, like I said, about 3 o'clock in the morning, I instantly knew that it was a spiritual dream, and I knew that it was prophetic, because most of you know that Jesus is called the Lion of Judah. And that lion in my dream, although I didn't realize it in my dream, as soon as I woke up, I knew to be Jesus, the Lion of Judah. And so I believe God is reminding us of two really important things that I know we know, but if you're like me, we forget them. And so here's the first thing. Jesus, the Lion of Judah, is on your side. He's not out to get you. He's not a predator. He's your protector. And as your protector, as the Lion of Judah, there's no one stronger than him. You're safe with him because he can protect you from anything and everything. And he's there. And so that's the first thing, that Jesus even though he's a lion, he's not a predator. And he's on your side. He's your protector. And then here's the second thing. Jesus wants you to rest in that protection. There is so much fear and anxiety in people right now. I mean, people have always had fear and people have always had anxiety, but I've never seen it at this rate that it is right now in people. And even in myself, I find myself at certain times kind of having some fear or some chaos or some anxiety. And I realize that I'm not realizing that Jesus is right there with me. Sometimes I feel like I'm kind of on my own, like I'm very vulnerable, like I'm out sleeping out in the middle of nowhere with no protection. I kind of feel like that sometimes, and maybe you feel like that. And because of that, we don't feel rested when there's fear and anxiety and chaos. We just don't feel rested. You know, people might be sleeping, but they're not rested. And again, I've even felt that a little bit in my own life. And I know that's one reason why God gave me this dream is that you don't have to miss out on rest. You don't have to be unrested because of fear and anxiety and all the chaos that's going in the world. I'm the Lion of Judah, Jesus is saying. I'm there right with you to protect you, even from the mice, even from the little things. And I can't tell you when I woke up how reassured I was and how full of peace I was. It's very simple, I know, but it was so life-changing to me. And it reminded me of the first verse of Psalm 91. Psalm 91:1 says, "Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty." You know, when our kids were little, they slept really well if they knew we were close. If they had any sense that we weren't around, that's when they would cry and maybe even scream, and they were fussy because they wanted to know that we were close, and because they knew we were their protector. And if they knew that, they would sleep well. Jesus wants you to enter that same kind of rest. He wants you to know that he's there with you. He's watching over you. He's your protector, and that you can rest in that. Jesus knows that you're not getting the rest you need because of fear and anxiety and all the chaos that's going on in the world. So Jesus wants you to enter that rest. It's okay to rest. He's got you covered. You know, God's been showing me so much stuff these past several weeks, and I'll be sharing these things with you every week. So make sure and hit the subscribe link. And I've also included a link to my website in the description below.